my name is Brandon, and welcome to Audio Addiction, where you can find the latest album reviews, you can find our band interviews, and you can find the live video of the concerts that we get. And my voice sounds a little off. It's because I've been sick for the past couple days. Outside of the album, outside of the interviews, I haven't been posting too much. I hope to be getting back on track with that very soon. But speaking about things going on, we're going to see After the Burial, Memphis Mayfire, and our homeboys and Andres this weekend. So it's going to be an awesome weekend for some awesome music, without a doubt. So I'm stoked to bring you some more content on that, hopefully. Really stoked on that. But tonight, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure to hit that like button. It does definitely go a long way, and it helps me see what you guys like. Also posted 2 album reviews earlier, so definitely go check those out as well. 2 awesome, really awesome bands, so definitely go check those out as well. But tonight we're going to be talking about Stolas' new record, their self-titled record. So, for those of you who haven't heard of Stolas, they used to be on Blue Swan Records. They released 2 awesome records, Living Creatures and Aloe Matter. I think they were both awesome records that were very underrated. But I think Aloe Matter, they definitely picked up the pace in terms of that. And now they're signed with Equal Vision, that has A Lot Like Birds and Hail the Sun, 2 awesome other bands that kind of hail from the same area. So definitely stoked on that. I've been following Stolas for some time now, which is awesome. I haven't listened to their stuff in a long time, but really was pumped that they had a new record. I listened to their single Bellwether and Damage Division, and I said I had to do a review of this without a doubt. So I'm gonna go through each track, let you know what my thoughts are on it, and that's pretty much it. So we'll move it into the first track. Also, I want to say some of these tracks, just phonetically, I'm just kind of dumb. So do not butcher me in the comments. I appreciate it if you do. If you don't, it's fine as well. But I'm not very good at that. So we'll move into the first track, which is Anhedonia, I think. I don't know. But really liking this sort of ambient, ethereal guitar intro. I think it's really solid. And then I like how all the other instrumentation kind of kicks in after that. I think vocally, Carlo reminds me a lot of Protest the Hero and Closure in Moscow. Definitely that's in that sort of range and sort of vocal styling. Definitely really enjoy that. I think I like Carlo a lot on this record. I think he's definitely showed his skill, and I'll kind of elaborate on that throughout the record, but I definitely think he's a solid vocalist, and this one's a great way to kind of start off and show everybody kind of what his skills are and stuff like that. I'm also unsure if he did the drums for this record or not. Somebody can correct me on that, but I definitely think the drum work is excellent without a doubt. If he didn't do it, or if he did do it, that more props to him. But definitely this track is one of my favorites. I also like the sort of 3-person setup that they have going on now. Obviously they'll have a touring drummer, but I like that kind of each person gets their own piece of the pie, I would say. You know, I think that guitar wise, I think it's really solid, and I think bass wise they're just really holding it down. So I like the combination of just their vocalist Carlo doing the vocals, Sergio doing the guitar, and just, the guy on bass doing his bass work. I think it's really solid. I also like that this sonically almost reminds me a lot of the Mars Volta. I think they're an awesome band as well. If you haven't checked out the Mars Volta, I would highly recommend checking them out, without a doubt. But I would definitely say this is a great way to start out the record, and I really enjoy this track. So we'll move on to track number 2, which is Bellwether. This was the first single that they released, and definitely one of my favorites, and what got me started on listening to this whole record, without a doubt. I think this track sort of starts off with a bang. I really love the hell out of that guitar intro riff. I think it's super solid. Very much reminds me of Closure in Moscow, one of my favorite bands of all time. First Temple is probably one of my favorite records of all time. So definitely enjoy that kind of I guess homage to Closure Moscow. I know they aren't dead, but definitely not as apparent as they used to be. But I really enjoyed that nod to them. I think Carlo's vocal range is impressive. I like his mids, his highs. I know he doesn't do too much low vocals, but I think if he incorporated that, that would just be killer. Also enjoy that this track has some great flow and great groove to it. This track definitely had my head bobbing and just moving. Really enjoy that, and I like that all of the instrumentation is very noticeable and very distinct. Not one thing sounds above the other. I think they play very well together just in that regard, and I think that has a lot to do with just how the songs were mixed and mastered and stuff like that. But I also feel like just sonically, nothing's too overbearing, nothing's too in your face. So I really enjoyed that. So shout outs to whoever did the mixing and mastering of this album because it really sounds awesome. So we'll move it into track number three, which is Maximizer. Really enjoy the groove of this one as well. I like the sort of slow down part around the 1 minute, one in 5 second minute mark. I think it's really cool. I think it's something different. Definitely harkens back to that again. Mars Volta is sort of feeling to that. I think the bass fills in the gaps of this track without a doubt. I think that has a lot to do with again having the three-person team. I think they really hold themselves accountable to each other as well as still having their own sort of unique flavor to them. So I really enjoyed that. I also really enjoy Sergio's use of the sort of like weird guitar effects. That's something again that I point out just because I'm a guitar player myself. But that's just something that blew me away. I think some of this stuff is just maybe just a little bit too much for me, but I think in this track they definitely did a good job. But I like that this track is kind of a little bit more toned down than the last few tracks. They're kind of just like in your face, sort of. I wouldn't say aggressive, but just definitely more in your face. And this one seems a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more chilled out. So I really enjoyed that about this track. So we'll move it into track number four, which is Damage Division. Was the second single that they released, I believe. Um, Instrumentally, this track reminds me a lot of one of my favorite bands as well, Strawberry Girls. Um, Sort of harkens back to that as well. I also like that this has some Hail the Sun vibes, ironically enough, that they're on the same label. Um, and I would definitely say that Carlos' vocals definitely cut through the mix of this track without a doubt. Alright, guys, so we'll move it into track number five, which is Anecdoche. Anecdoche? I don't know. I don't know how to pronunciate these words. I'm really dumb. But anyway, I would definitely consider this track to be one of my favorites. I think it has a huge intro, which I love. Definitely this album has been very experimental, very like odd in comparison to their last records. I'm not saying that odd in a bad way. I think it's definitely different. And considering sort of the lineup changes, I appreciate the difference. But really enjoy that sort of like odd different stuff that they're doing with this album. But getting back to this track, I like the vibes in the verse. I think they're awesome. I think instrumentation from the chorus to from the drums to the guitars, and any sort of chorus verses, any of that sort of stuff, I think they really just kind of hit it out of the park on this track. um I'm liking the usage of other instruments like bongos, maracas, etc. It kind of adds this sort of exotic vibe to the entire track. And I'm enjoying the sort of softer tones in the bridge. I think that them incorporating some of that slow downish sort of softer parts, I think that's a really cool bit, and I really enjoy that a lot. So we'll move it into track number six, which is Cold and Unmanageable. I definitely enjoy the sort of eerie, sort of ambient tones in the intro. I think that's really solid. Also enjoying Carlo's sort of more subtle approach to the vocals, especially in the intro. I think that's really solid on his part. I think it shows a lot of diversity vocally from him, considering that this is his first record on vocals. While he has been in the band for a while, I think it's a cool change of pace. I also enjoy all the changes throughout the track. Considering how long it is, I think that it's really solid work on their part and solid song structure on their part as well. I think that it doesn't become overbearing. It doesn't become too much when it's a long track. I feel like a lot of people like myself would lose interest. But I think they kept it very thought out, very just like engaged. The listeners very engaged, and maybe I'm a little bit more impatient, but I think they really did an awesome job. I like, and I also like the guitar work as well. I think Sergio just rips it on the guitar. If I haven't made that clearly evident already, I think he's one of the more underrated guitar players in the post-hardcore scene, without a doubt. I think he just has this sort of way about doing a guitar that a lot of other people just don't really think about. So I really enjoy that, just being a guitar player myself. I think that this track has great flow, and if that doesn't show you enough on terms of song structure and having things thought out, then you kind of have to go back and rethink it, because I think they did a solid job for the track being over 6 minutes and just keeping my attention at least. I think they did a really solid job. So we'll move it into track number 7, which is Catalyst. This is another single, I would say almost demo. Not demo in this regard, but I meant demo as in this was one of the first tracks that they released with Carlo on vocals before they had hopped into the studio. So it was cool to see that. I think the intro is just instrumentally insane. I think they just went really crazy, and it's kind of what I've learned to love about Stolas. I think that they're just insane. The drumming on this track is monstrous, man. Like, he's got some really good grooves considering how fast paced and how insane it is. Definitely getting some of those Mars Volta vibes again. I think that was definitely a huge influence on them throughout this record, without a doubt. So you can definitely tell that that's an influence on them. Again, I like that they really experimented in the verses. I think they did a solid job, and I also feel like the chorus just hits like a truck. It's really awesome, and really liking the bridge. I think it's wild. Again, I think it's ambient. I think it's very experimental, without a doubt. Again, getting back to the Mars Volta kind of comparison, I definitely I definitely feel like they were a huge influence on not only this track but a lot of tracks off this record. And I would definitely say a good adjective to describe this track is relentless. From start to finish, it's just insane, and just doesn't stop. So I would highly recommend checking out this track if you haven't already. I think it's one of my favorites, if not my favorites, off the record, without a doubt. So we'll move it on to track number 8, which is Euphoria. Really love that intro guitar riff. Again, if I haven't told you that I like Sergio enough, I think a few more tracks will tell you that I like Sergio a lot. I think he's just, again, a wild guitar player. I think he's heavily, heavily underrated, without a doubt. Um, Another sort of wild drum track. If you're a huge drum fan, I think you will get a lot of time, a lot of just like thinking about how he come up with some of those drum parts. It's just insane to me. I like the sort of ambient parts and the pre-chorus size bridges. Again, I'm a big fan of that sort of ambient sort of stuff, along with the experimental sort of stuff. Artifacts Pro is one of my favorite bands of all time, so definitely reminds me a lot in that regard, with the experimentalness and like ambientness of their tracks. Really dug that. And I would like that they kind of picked up the pace in the second verse. I think it just is, again, going off the chain, without a doubt. And I like that they kind of went soft and ended it in like a softer tone. I think that's just impeccable songwriting from them, without a doubt. And I think it definitely changes up the whole mood of the track, without a doubt. So Euphoria, definitely one of my favorites off the record. So we'll move into the ninth track of the record, which is Pace Setter. I think Sergio is definitely putting on a guitar clinic, if I haven't already mentioned that too many times. But he is just nuts on the guitar. If you're a guitar fan, you're definitely in for a treat. Um, Really liking the addition of bongos. I think I like that they're just adding some like exotic sort of instruments to an already good album. I think it kind of just adds this other layer to the whole record, without a doubt. I think Carlo definitely is putting in a solid performance on this track, along with the entire record. I think he really just stepped up his game, considering that this was his first record. I think he has, obviously set the bar very high for himself. But I think it's awesome. Really liking the break in the bridge. I think it's super solid. I think it definitely breaks up the track. without a doubt. And I think that this track has a lot of great grooves and a lot of great flow to it as well. So I would definitely consider checking out Pace Setter. And so the last track is Metempsychosis. I think that's how you're gonna say it. I don't know. Again, I'm not really good with this sort of stuff. But this track is definitely one of my favorites. I think it's a great way to end this record on like with a long track, which I was really surprised about. Really liking the sort of ambient effects intro, heavy ambient effect intro. I think it's really awesome. I like this sort of softness um, to the intro while it being, you know, effect heavy and ambient. I think it just has this sort of softness about it just because of all the sort of um, just effects and things of that nature. So I really enjoy that. I think the drumming is just again killer. If I haven't stated that enough, I think the drumming is just monstrous. I like the back and forth between in the verses. I think that's really awesome. Where it got a little bit heavy, then it got soft, then it got heavy, then it got soft. I think it's definitely awesome. Definitely getting some more Closure in Moscow and Protest the Hero sort of vibes from this track, and even some Tides of Man, which is another one of my favorite bands as well. So I really enjoy that sort of homage to all three of those bands. I would definitely say that this is a nice balance between heavy riffage and heavy guitar parts with some more melodic parts. I think they would just in this track they gel very well together and really enjoy that. Um, I think this track shows that Stolas definitely knows how to arrange tracks and you know put them out very well structurally. I think is really super solid. Um, and considering again being another long track, I think it's just structured very well. It's very thought out, very methodical. Really enjoy that, and I would definitely say that this track kind of encompasses the whole thought and the whole premise behind this record. I think they just kind of solidified themselves by making a really awesome record, and I think they couldn't have ended it in a better way, without a doubt. So, pros and cons. I really like Carlo as the vocalist. Obviously he's isn't really technically a new member, but I think in his new position, I think he's really done a solid job. And again, I think he set the bar high for himself for the next record. Really stoked to see what he kind of pumps out for the next. But I think he really did a stellar job. I think Sergio again. I think he's definitely one of the more underrated guitar players in post-hardcore, without a doubt. I think he's really come up with some awesome riffage, without a doubt. And stoked to see more new material and catch them on tour as well. I'm hoping to go to their headliner. It's going to be ridiculous. And really stoked for this new record. So I definitely do think you should go pick up their self-titled. So what am I going to give Stolas' self-titled record a rating of? I'm going to give it a 9.2 out of 10. I think it's really super solid. Like I mentioned earlier, I think it definitely has some pace to it. While there are some tracks that are 6 minutes long, I think they hold their own. I think they do a really awesome job, especially Metempsychosis. I think that's how you're going to say it. I have no idea. But I think that the track definitely shows that they can do a really long song and still hold your, you know, thoughts and things of that nature into that. So really enjoyed that track a lot. And a lot of the tracks off this record in general. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the new Stolas record. What's your favorite tracks? What's your thoughts on the new record just in general? Definitely go check this one out. Definitely go pre-order it. Go pick it up. It actually comes out tomorrow, the 17th. So definitely go check that one out if you haven't already. Also go check out the other two album reviews that I did. I think they were really awesome records as well. So definitely go give those a peep if you can. So if you enjoy what we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also make sure to hit that like button as well. It really does mean a lot, and thank you guys for your support. And if you enjoy us a lot, definitely go pick up something from our merch store. It would be greatly appreciated. So thank you guys for that, and thank you for the support. It means a lot. Thank you for getting us to 300 subscribers, and we're almost at 50k views, which blows my mind. So thank you guys so much for that. So my name is Brandon, and we hope you got your fix, and we'll be talking with you soon. Deuces. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps out our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.